Okay. Hello, everyone. We are here today with those of you who would know her as Mrs. Jones or Laura Jones. She will forever be Mrs. Jones to me. We're going to be talking about the Eliot Rosewater books and what exactly those are. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryan. I work in the youth services area at the Argos Public Library. So one of the main things that I do is I work with teens. That's probably my bread and butter. So that's why the Rosewater books are very important to me. So I'm going to send it over to Mrs. Jones.
Hello, everyone. So as he said, I'm Mrs. Jones. You probably know me, most of you, from the school, but I recently moved from the school to work for the Indiana State Library. So now I have been, since January, I'm the Northwest Regional Coordinator, and what that entails is I get to go and visit and help a bunch of different libraries in the northwest part of Indiana. So I'm really loving my new role. It's kind of taken a weird turn here with COVID-19, but everybody's kind of dealing with that same thing. So we'll see how it turns out in the future. So Ryan, what kind of things can I help you with on the Rosie Award today?
Well, number one, I, myself, and others probably want to know what exactly are the Eliot Rosewater nominees and why are they called Eliot Rosewater?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. So the Eliot Rosewater name is kind of a nod to an Indiana writer and a reoccurring character in a lot of his books. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you guys. We have a Rosie Book Award website, and Ryan will share that link with you when he posts this. But I'll show you my screen, and then we can kind of look at it, and I can explain a little bit better. And while I'm getting this ready, I am the chair of the Rosie committee this year, and so far it's been really fun. We get to do a lot of reading and talking about books, so it's right up my alley. Right up yours too, Ryan.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so do you see my screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So the Eliot Rosewater Book Award is a book award for high school students, and it's basically meant for pleasure reading. So what it is a group of librarians and teachers get together, and they come up with around 75 books that are all nominated by students, teachers, librarians. And then from those 75, they're kind of whittled down to 25 books, and those 25 books become the nominees for the following year. And we encourage students and anybody to read those and vote on them. And from the 25, that is when we get the Rosie winner. So, like I said, it's named after a reoccurring character named Eliot Rosewater in Kurt Vonnegut's novels. So Kurt Vonnegut's a famous Hoosier author who grew up in Indianapolis. So this award was named to honor him and as well as other Indiana writers. So a lot of people are like, why Rosie? And it's the Rosewater is the name, but we also refer to the award as the Rosie Award. So that's why.
Okay, cool. Something I didn't know, and I don't know about you, but I've never read any of Kurt Vonnegut's books.
They're not
I'm
as,
very guilty.
they're a little bit more, I don't know. I don't get into them, but yeah, some people do.
It's an acquired taste, you know?
Yes.
But okay, so another question I have is how are books selected?
Okay, so basically what we do for selection is any book that's written for young adults, the characters need to be kind of a young adult age. We try not to put books with adult characters or younger than high school characters because we know that high school kids probably for pleasure reading will want to read about people that are their age and are in similar situations as them. So the books that are put on the nominee list are a whole list or a whole bunch of different genres. We try to have some from each genre. So we try to include mystery, romance, graphic novels, historical fiction, biography, memoir, little nonfiction, sci-fi, fantasy, kind of a good mix of all different genres of novels so that there's really something for everyone on the list to enjoy.
Awesome. I would say I've definitely appreciated the nonfiction and graphic novels that have been on it for the last couple years. I mean, Hey Kiddo, which is on the 2020-2021
Yes,
school list. I absolutely loved that book.
yes.
It
I
was up
appreciate
for
that
a
too.
Mock Caldecott Award.
Hmm. And
Hmm?
National Book Award finalist as well. So
Yep.
yeah, that's a
So,
great choice.
okay. So the next question is, Oh yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for all of the next school year's books, and some of them I've already read, like The Poet X.
Yep.
I loved that one. Um, which other one? I'm excited to read Emmy Laybourne's book because she was the one who won last year, wasn't she?
Yes, her book Sweet was the winner last year. So from the list of 25 that everybody read and voted on, her book is the one
Hmm.
that got the most votes last year. Yep.
Awesome. See, I still got it in my memory. Okay. Next question. When kids get done reading, and now this could be open up to any faculty in a school, any students, and then at a public library, if an adult happened to read it,
Mhm.
they could vote for it as well.
Yes. So two things I'll touch on here is not only can kids and adults vote for books, but we always are seeking nominations for the next year's list. We're always working on the upcoming list. So I'll toggle over here to our website. You can nominate a book. It'll pull up a Google form for you. And basically we just ask a few questions about, are you a librarian, teacher, student? And then we want to know the copyright date and the publisher, the title of the book, whether the characters are high school age or not, and then if you've read the book all the way through, and then why you think it would be a good choice. And you don't have to give us a huge review, just kind of a 1 or 2 sentence
Yeah.
why you think it's a good choice. But we want to know the copyright date because we try to keep books that have been written in the past 5 years because we work so far in advance. If we pick a book that's already been published maybe 6 or 7 years ago, by the time we get the list out to the readers, it's going to be 9 or 10 years old. And a lot of kids want new books, newer books. So that's kind of why we have a publishing date of 5 years or more recent than 5 years. So that's how you nominate a book, and anybody can always nominate a book. So I would highly encourage you kids and teachers to nominate all the time. Anytime you read a good one, nominate it. And then as far as how to vote, we have this how to participate tab for students or for teachers and librarians. And for students, you can click here and there's an online voting form. So I'll click that so you can see. We've just revamped this. We used to have to do paper ballots with the librarian or the teacher, and that kind of is not a easy situation to tabulate. So now we have these Google Forms. One of our committee members is a guru in Excel, and she's made all these forms for us. So say you want to go through here and vote on Caravel, you can click on it. It'll pull up another form for you, and then you can click here to vote and rate. Pull up another form, and here's where you understand and agree that you're only voting once for this book, yada yada. Put your name, your grade level, and then it'll ask you whether you give it a 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. 5 being, oh my gosh, it's so awesome, and 1 being, eh. So that's how you vote.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. My next question is, you are on what is called the Rosie Committee. How does one go about getting on that committee?
Okay, good question. So each year the committee rotates off 10 members and brings on 10 new members because we always have a committee of 30. In order to join the committee, you don't have to have any special qualifications other than be a teacher or a librarian or a public library employee. Actually, I would say maybe not even that because we have a couple self-employed writers that have been on the list as well. So we kind of welcome any readers. So here you go to Rosie Committee and then join the Rosie Committee. And basically you just fill out this little form here and then it kicks over an email to me and the other 2 leaders that are on the committee. We add you to our waiting list and then ba-boom, when it's time, we contact you. And actually we have quite a waiting list right now, but since we rotate 10 off every year, it doesn't take actually too many years to get on there. And as perks of the committee are great because you get 25 to 27 books to read as part of your duties. It's a lot of reading. You usually get them around April, and then you have until September to finish them. And you kind of get a choice on what you prefer to read. So we're not telling you what to read, but it's a lot of reading, but it is fun, and you get to keep the free books. So that's a big bonus.
Awesome. I would say that's something in my free time. I might try to do that, but we'll see.
Well, if you're reading anyways, you may as well.
But I know, right? And I mean, the last couple of years selections have just been wonderfully just diverse in the genres that they've had. I mean, I remember in high school, there were some times where I just felt like, okay, it's all the same stuff, copy and paste, but no, they've really really made the difference with what they're selecting. And a lot of it is books that I would have never thought. Like we just did The Hate You Give
Mm-hmm.
with our book club, and oh my Lanta, that was phenomenal. How does a 24-year-old man relate to a 16-year-old girl? I mean, it was just a very good book and a very good discussion with the group.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And we've read, let's see, I think we've read 2 of the Rosie books that are on the list for this remainder of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
And I told everyone, I said, vote
Yep.
for them. They're like,
Yep.
oh, we can do that. I said, yeah. I said, did you read it? Yeah. Vote.
Yep.
So we're really trying to push it at Argos now. And then another thing is, as sad as it is, RosieCon was canceled this year. Tears.
I know.
How did that get started? What did you have any involvement with it? Tell us a little bit about what exactly RosieCon is.
Okay. So RosieCon is like the brainchild of one of our members, and she's been on the committee a very, very long time. Her name's Diane Rogers. She's a librarian at, I think, Ben Davis High School in Indianapolis. And she's always said year after year, wouldn't it be amazing if we could have a book fest like similar to Y'all Fest and Fall Fest and all these that different states have. And she said, we could have it. I mean, we can start contacting authors and maybe bring in all the Rosie authors, previous ones, current ones, upcoming ones, and just bring them and have sessions and let kids get things signed. And so it kind of started planning many years ago, and then Diane really, really kicked it into gear. And last year was our first one, and Ryan and I went to it last year, and it was just like the most epic day. I mean, we were like fangirling, gang the whole day. Oh my gosh, there's authors everywhere. So it was so wonderful for Indiana to have that, and we were really hoping for growth this year. So what I'm thinking is we'll hopefully try to get one next year. Time will tell. But yeah, it was very sad that it had to be canceled.
I know, because I got word that Kendar Blake was going to be there, and I about had a heart attack. Three Dark Crowns is one of my favorite series that I read this year. Well, within the last 2 or 3 years, I think, because I'm trying to think of when I first started it. I originally started when they said it was just going to be a duology. Then she's like, oh, just kidding. I'm going to write 2 more books and a novella. And I'm like, okay, I'm down for that, So that was a little upsetting. But no, I remember when we went there and I saw someone, I go, oh, hey, how are you? And they're like, oh, I'm fine. How are you? And I realized it was Veronica Rossi.
No big deal.
I was just like, she just said hi to me.
Oh, man.
So that was fun. Anyone who gets a chance to go to that is just awesome. Whether it's authors that you like or may not like or have never heard of. I mean, there was a bunch of them that I went there and I was like, I don't know who you are. I'm so sorry, because I think there was quite a few who were past nominees, not the current list.
Right.
So that was always kind of fun to kind of catch up with some of them. And they were all really nice, willing to take pictures and sign anything you threw at them, honestly, So that was a lot of fun. But that's really all the questions I have for it. So I guess it's just open to the floor to you. I know you've got some past Rosie books that you've absolutely loved. So why don't you hit us with those?
Okay. Before I do that, I wanted to mention too, RosieCon is really inexpensive too. They worked really hard on making it inexpensive so a lot of students could come, and a lot of schools would send bus loads of students. So I think it's only like $25 a ticket, and that's for all day. So
I don't even think when I paid, because then they refunded us who paid for our tickets in advance, it was only like $21 and some odd cents.
Yeah, it was a great deal. Yep. Epic day. So I'll share with you 2 of my favorites, and I have them at home, which is really weird because I don't keep a lot of books at home. But these are 2 that I had to buy, and they've been past Rosies. I think I nominated them both, and then of course voted for both and fought for both. But they're such epic books. The first one is Broken Beautiful Hearts by Cami Garcia. Cami Garcia is an amazing author. She writes a lot of fantasy, mystery, but this one's a romance. And so it's like a high school football team, and then there's an MMA fighter, and this girl moves into live with her uncle and her cousins because something happens with her family. And so, oh my goodness, it is so good. And she's a soccer player. Something happens to her where she can't play soccer anymore in the very beginning, and it's just so good. I could gush on about that for days. You know I love
And
a good romance.
for us Argos people, not being able to play soccer, I
I
mean,
know.
that's relatable.
I know. My kids were so depressed about that, and I wanted to watch them too. So there went the
Yeah.
whole soccer season. Boom, gone. Sad. Speaking of sad, this next book is kind of sad, but I still love it. So this is called Salt to the Sea, and it's by Ruta Sepetys. And Ruta Sepetys is like the queen of young adult historical fiction. She has amazing books. Her book Out of the Easy takes place in New Orleans. Her book, what's the one that takes place in like the Arctic? Oh,
Between Shades of Grey.
oh yes, so good. Well, that was random.
Well, this is actually going to be a book club book for a personal book club I have.
Oh,
We
awesome.
voted on it, so
So
that's why
fabulous.
I thought.
So this is the little known story of the ship that was that went down, and it had a ton of children and women on it, and it was kind of covered up when it happened because there was a war going on, and they didn't really want people to know about this. I wrote a book review about this. I just could not like stop thinking about this book. The way it was written, there's like a whole bunch of different people that are kind of trying to get out of the country before they start getting bombed. Well, they're just kind of misfits. There's an old man that's by himself. There's a young girl that's by herself. There's some orphans. There's a blind lady. There's all these random people that are on their way, and they kind of hook up together and make like a band of like a family. And it is just so heart-wrenching what happens, but it's so worth the read. I think I tried to get my sister to read this. She's like, I couldn't get into it. I'm like, what? So all
I
books are
say
not for
you
everyone.
tried to get me to read it. Yeah.
I was like, shot to the heart.
Yeah, you tried to get me to read it, but that was when I was not much of a historical fiction reader.
Yeah.
It took me until we read for Page Turners, which is our adult book club at the Argos Public Library, for us to read the Alice Network. For me to be like, okay, this can be good, you know? And I was like, it took me a little bit to get into it because my brain just doesn't do the adult genre very well. I'm just like, come on, let's get to the point, you know? But after reading that, I think this is going to be.
Yes. There's a movie of that too.
I can't wait to watch it. Now, excuse me, is that on Prime or something?
Not that I've seen. I don't know that it's been released out to, you know, that
something like that.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to find
I'll
it
have to
somewhere.
look that up because when we're done with that, yeah, we're going to try to watch it from our homes at the same time. I found a website that you can actually do that and like chat on the side.
Cool. Watch party.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a pain to get it started, but once you get it started, it's smooth sailing from there.
Awesome.
Okay, well, let's see. I have one particular Rosie book that I just recently read. It's not on the new list. I currently own almost all of them that are on the new Rosie list, but I just finished The Serpent King not that long ago by Jeff Zentner.
Swoon.
Oh my Lanta. It was so good. Now, he's one of the authors we met at RosieCon.
Yeah, tell him about that, Ryan.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. We had a little hard time controlling ourselves. We were both a little excited about it. I'd never heard of the man before, and now I love it. I love everything he does. And what he was doing, and I watched it every night on Instagram, he was actually doing a reading and a discussion of each chapter. And right now, he's doing one, which I haven't read the book, so I want to read it myself. I don't want it to be read to me, is he's doing it with this one. He's had other authors come in who have had similar topics that are going on in that chapter. So all I could say is, if you want to cry, do this. Now, I actually listened to the audiobook with this one, which I got through either Overdrive or Hoopla, and it actually has 3 different narrators.
Nice.
And they make voices for the other characters, but they do it so well. And it's getting to the point I've listened to so many audiobooks. I'm like, gosh, this guy sounds familiar. And he was actually the same guy that narrated another one of my favorite books. It's not a Rosie book, but one of my favorites. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera.
Oh, yeah.
And spoiler alert, they do. You know, I mean, it's in the title. But yeah, so that's definitely one of my favorite ones. It's just about 3 kids, Lydia, Dill, and Travis, who are just kind of social outcasts in a rural town in Tennessee. And Dill's father is a preacher, and he actually got himself into some trouble. And because that he is now in jail, his family is very much into his faith. It's a cult. That's the nicest way to say it. It's definitely a cult setting. Travis's home life is terrible. He's got a very abusive, alcoholic father and a mother who loves him to death, but just has a hard time dealing with that. And then their friend Lydia, who is more of the ritzy rich of the friend group. She's very popular on social media. She's got all these followers. And it's their senior year, and they're just dealing with the idea of Lydia leaving and how that might affect the group. And then something tragic happens that just really changes the dynamic of everything. And that's all I can say, because it'll make me cry remembering it. I was not prepared at all. I was actually spoiled that it was going to happen by one of the kids at RosieCon when we were in line with.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Like, oh, this is going to happen. I'm like, I just bought this book, and now I know the crucial point. So
you'll be excited to know that Jeff Zentner has a book. This is a little insider secret. His new book is on the upcoming books to be considered for next time, Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee. Yeah. So get that one read too.
I know, it's like, oh gosh, it's like as if my list wasn't big enough. I'm going to actually try to get my mom to read this one with me.
There you go.
My mom has 2 basset hounds, and there's a little basset hound on the cover.
Yep.
So she's kind of obsessed with them. So yeah. So that's my book I would definitely recommend that's been on the Rosie list. And that's all I got. Do you have anything else?
Nope, I don't think so. Just make sure you guys nominate books and vote for books. And if you have any questions, maybe Ryan could put my new email in the chat or in the video as well. Feel free to email me.
No problem.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Ryan. Have a nice evening.
Yep, no problem. Yep, you too.
Talk to you later.
Yep.